Hey guys, this is Garrett and welcome back to the Ignite Your Run series. Today, very excited to have Chris Wolfe, who is the director and physical therapist at Star PT in Green Hills. What Chris is going to do is talk a little bit about the great toe. And without me ruining anything, I'm going to let Chris just take over and tell you what he's talking about today.
Thanks, Garrett. So today we're looking at great toe mobility. Having flexibility in the great toe is super important for runners, mainly because not just from a performance standpoint, but from an injury standpoint too. And that's your push-off. There's a lot of debate about where you're going to land on your foot when you first make heel strike during the run, and they'll debate that for a long time on your heel, midfoot, or your forefoot. But what they don't debate is what you're going to push off from, okay? And it's going to be pushing off from the great toe. If you do not have the flexibility or mobility there, that's going to cause a problem. And most of the time, people are going to be coming in with complaints of possible plantar fasciitis, some calf issues, some forefoot pain, sometimes some metatarsal fractures or metatarsal pain as well. So today, let's look at how we would assess and treat that limitation if it's there. So Garrett, have a seat here on this bench. If you were to kind of come down, put your foot flat, scoot forward, pointing foot flat there. So initially, I'll keep somebody in a seated position, and I would passively pull the toe up, just so I can see what that ankle looks like and the toe looks like, how much motion is there. We're trying to get to about 70 to 80 degrees of great toe extension, but right now I don't know if that's necessarily limited in the actual joint, or if it's a muscular tightness, possibly in the tendon that runs underneath the foot. So I need to try to figure out which one of those is causing the problem. I'll also have Garrett stand up for me. If I would have him put that foot behind him, kind of bend the knee, so I can see what functionally his motion looks like too. So I've seen it in seated. Maybe I'll find this a little bit limited there. Then I'll put him in this position because I want to see kind of what he looks like when he's maybe doing a push-off. And that kind of shows me quite a bit too. That's a simple assessment as well. Garrett's got good mobility here, okay, but say that that's limited or you find it's limited in yourself. What do we do next? All right, Garrett, have a seat here for me. Slide back to the corner, put that foot straight. So first I want to see if it's a limitation actually in the joint, or if it's a limitation in the muscle. So if I was just going to figure out the limitations here in the great toe joint, I'm going to pull that foot down so that way I give his muscles slack, a lot of flexibility, so it's not really causing much of an issue. Then I'm going to pull that toe up. That allows me to truly assess more of what's going on here in the joint. If that is restricted at that point, I'm still going to check to see if the muscle is tight as well, but that's going to be how I'm going to treat that limitation. I want to check to see if it's a limitation actually in the calf or possibly that flexor tendon that comes up underneath the foot. I'm going to pull him into some dorsiflexion here. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing. And with Garrett here, that's where his flexibility loss is. He's got great mobility, but that's if I was going to look at anything, say, well, we're going to be working on some flexibility in actual muscle. Here, you're looking for about 30 degrees of motion when the foot is completely in dorsiflexion. So you need to see good mobility there. If there was a restriction here in the actual joint, and I assessed that by pointing the toes, and I could not get that toe lifted up, what I'm going to start then is working on that mobility. So I can simply just grab it, and I'm not going to grab the middle of the part of the toe here. I'm going to grab down through here, so I'm going to block this toe. I'll just simply pull it up and stretch. You don't want to make it painful. Pain-free stretching, low load, long duration stretch. It's about a 30-second hold, as long as it's not painful. In addition to that, I may kind of twist very gently both directions to try to help loosen that joint up. I may actually try to glide, move the toes sideways, because that joint is supposed to move that direction. Many times that just helps to get that mobility much better and a lot quicker as well. I would typically do this for about 3, maybe 5 minutes, just depending on how stiff that is. You don't want to create a lot of soreness in the joint there where you're kind of limping, okay? So that may need to be adjusted per your tolerance. If we find that this mobility is actually pretty good, no joint restriction, fine. But then we pull the foot up and we find that we lose a lot of mobility. Then we can safely conclude that we've got some tightness, possibly in the calf, and in that tendon that runs underneath the foot. How are we going to address that? One, if I'm doing self-treatment, you have to tell Garrett kind of crosses this leg over here. He can actually put some pressure here underneath the foot. You can see him pull the big toe down, and then you can just pull the toe up. Okay? So I'd say, Garrett, you can grab, pinch and grab right here, and then extend your big toe. So what he's doing there is kind of like a gliding motion for the tendon, sometimes a flossing motion. He's just trying to work areas underneath the foot. I would actually have him go down his entire arch to see if he felt any tender areas. Sometimes in the plantar fascia can restrict that mobility as well. And this is sometimes called kind of like an active release. If you apply pressure and then cause him to extend under his own strength. So go ahead and pull your toes up. Perfect. And then find that tender spot underneath your foot. Hold as you extend your toe. As you extend your toe, good. And you can address some of those tender areas like that. Right. If I wanted to work a little bit higher up, that's when I kind of bring out my trusty friend or crossball. I would have him put some pressure potentially on the tender spot he feels in his calf. As he holds that there, then I'd say, Garrett, pull your foot up, extend those toes as you come up like that. Okay? And then point your toes away. That's why he's getting some pressure applied by that lacrosse ball as well. Again, you're trying to keep this very tolerable. It won't make it very painful for yourself.
All right, guys. Thanks to Chris for the instruction here on the great toe. Again, make sure you're taking a look at the great toe. It's a big area. We always think about all these other areas through the thigh, hips, up through the spine, but the big toe is one area in particular that I see a lot of runners are overlooking. So make sure you take his key points in the video, apply them to yourself, and kind of see how you match up. Again, thanks for Chris for the demonstration, and we'll talk to you soon.